Merry meet. This is Athena again. I'll try to talk louder today. This video is a video response to the first lesson in Ember Honeyraven's Witchversity, the one about Salem witch trials. I will tell you that this is a topic I have always hated, for obvious reasons, of course, but ever since high school, being forced to read The Crucible, being forced to read The Scarlet Letter, which still that whole feel-bad timing, country's history, I have always become agitated and upset with the events that occurred. Like a lot of you, I find I'm extremely empathic, and for that reason, I avoid the news. I don't have DirecTV or cable. I don't listen to the radio anymore. I hide everything that's negative on my Facebook feed, pretty much. If something really serious happens, it does trickle through to me, but I avoid it. The world is so slanted in sharing all the bad with us. I know there's a lot of good out there too. I do try to work with what I can control, make things better in any way I can, and avoid all the dark, oppressive topics. Today's topic is Salem, though, so can't really avoid that. Instead of spending more time than I needed to marinating in it, I decided to go and listen to some podcasts, watch the recommended video that Ember posted, the documentary, and that way I could get the information I needed without having to spend hours reading. So, took the shortcut way this time. One thing I do want to recommend, if you haven't discovered the wonderful world of listening to podcasts, I highly, highly recommend it. One of the ones I want to mention today doesn't focus just on witchy, pagan-y, earthy things. It focuses on pretty much every topic under the sun. This podcast is called Stuff You Should Know, and I wrote it down, so if you're like me, you can take a screenshot, and they often do SYSK for short. They even have an app. It's a free app, and it's extremely convenient because you can click on it, you can type whatever you want to know about in the search bar, and a ton of things come up. Videos, podcasts, articles. It is a wealth of information. I like it. It's just awesome. One of their sister sites, I suppose, is another one that will come up if you use the app, and it's called Stuff You Missed in History Class. And I listened to two today. One was titled What Really Happened in Salem, and that one came out in October of 2012. Later in March, another one came out, still also Stuff You Missed in History Class. This one was titled The Trial of Goody Garlic. Have you ever heard of that one? Me neither. She was tried as for witchcraft 40 years earlier, before Salem, and she had a much better outcome, and it seemed a whole lot less hysterical and insane. Even the people who accused her, or people who thought she might have been involved in some unfortunate incidences, they still wouldn't go so far as to say, yeah, and she also killed all my livestock, and she also blah, blah, blah. I mean, they kept it a lot more factual, I guess. Factual. That was a very interesting one. I guess the stuff I really want to focus on as far as a response for this week's lesson is I really think there's probably something to that whole idea of ergot, that, you know, the wheat or the rye being infected by a fungus, and it has LSD type symptoms. I think possibly the first couple girls who had just out of nowhere crazy hallucination reaction type things, it was probably caused by something like that, and then it just snowballed. It turned into something huge. They were getting attention. They blamed Tituba. She confessed and then started naming names, and that's when it just turned into craziness. I think if you confessed, you were spared, as long as you confessed and also gave them names. So a lot of the people who died is because they were good people who didn't throw other people under the bus. And someone who admitted to it, they could save their own skin. And if they had just waited long enough, you know, some of those people ended up, when it all ended, they got to go free and they were pardoned and all that. Of course, I really feel like Putnam's, they said they were involved in 181 of the accusations. I've got my notes here. That's why I keep looking down. So I think the Putnams are very much the evil villains of the story, along with Sheriff George Corwin, who was related to a lot of the magistrates, they said, who basically looted. He would say, yeah, you've been accused, now we'll take all your stuff. And even then, he had no, they said he had no legal right to do that. So it was clearly they had motives to have these people locked away and killed and executed for no reason. Yeah, I think it's disgusting. Obviously, it's horrifying, and I don't like to spend too much time focusing on it. My takeaway is, even though we probably these days think we're a lot more advanced and a lot like that would never happen today, I don't agree. Not to this, it wouldn't happen to this extent, but clearly the fact that there's so much hatred against any type of lifestyle that doesn't fit into this is the right way, and if you're not this way, you're wrong. Hatred, hate crimes, it still happens. It hadn't stopped. It's terrible. As I mentioned with that app, the Stuff You Should Know app, if you type in Salem, you'll come up with lots of articles, and you can listen to podcasts, you can see short little documentary type things of how it is still happening right now. Right now, it's still happening. And they talk about a teacher who was beheaded 2 years ago. Yeah, it's not happening necessarily on our soil here, but it's a little terrifying. It doesn't mean it couldn't. It doesn't mean it won't. So stories like this are part of why I wonder how safe it is to be out of the closet and outwardly showing your feelings to others. Thank you if you stuck with me to the end of this video. I'd love to see video responses from others of you in the group. I look forward to hearing your thoughts.